Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 4th of October, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles because they run to around a couple of weeks. We're going to have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, and that will get us well into October. I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6 AM upload. We've also released weekend broadcasts, and we've released a big video today, which was the first winter 2022-2023 seasonal model roundup, getting 15 long range models together to see what they're all showing for the winter. Very interesting model output within that video, so do have a look at that if you'd like to do that. And it's within the playlist, Winter Updates playlist on the YouTube homepage, so check it out if you'd like to. Right, well, we're going to start our 10 to 14 day, as we have been doing regularly, of course, lately, in the tropical Atlantic, because it's all happening. So we've got 3 tropical storms, a post-tropical depression, and a disturbance area. Let's deal with the disturbance area first of all. That's the yellow X just there. That is disturbance 1, with a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days and a 30% chance in the next 5 days. Where to next? Fiona. Right, so we've got post-tropical storm Fiona up there moving into Canada, giving maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour, so still giving a real blow. And with a minimum central pressure of 937 millibars, clicking on Fiona. Going there, we can see that this is going to carry on moving further north. The current position is around there, going to carry on moving northwards. Excuse me. And by Tuesday, we'll be somewhere up towards Greenland as a post-tropical depression. Right, where to next? Gaston. We've got tropical storm Gaston giving maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour around the Azores. So he's going to be going post-tropical too soon. Current position is just going to head off back out into the Atlantic and go post-tropical. Right, so then we've got Hermine just here. That is a tropical storm Hermine giving maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour with a minimum set pressure of 1,002 millibars. So this tropical storm is going to be heading toward the Canary Islands, quite unusually, going northwards from Cabo Verde to Canaries, and will bring a lot of very heavy rain with it. So that will impact the Canary Islands. And then we've got tropical storm Ian just here, giving maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour with a minimum set pressure of 1,004 millibars. Clicking on Ian and going there, we can see that this is still predicted to become a major hurricane somewhere between Cuba and Florida. So current position of tropical storm Ian is just there. Ian is going to be curving through the Caribbean, powering up to a hurricane by the beginning of next week as it hits Cuba, and then beyond Cuba in the Gulf of Mexico will become a major Category 3 hurricane moving into the Florida Panhandle through the middle part of next week. That could well be the first sort of impact on the United States of this season, and I'm sure the folks in Florida will be watching what could well become Major Hurricane Ian very, very, very closely over the next few days. At the moment, Ian is being forecast to be a Category 3 hurricane going up to maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour. That gets it into Category 3 hurricane status, which is a major hurricane. Of course, that's still like 3 or 4 days away, so there is plenty of time for that to be further upgraded. There is time for that to be downgraded too. So we shall wait and see what happens with Hurricane Ian heading towards Florida next week. Central temperature is continuing its very, very slow and gradual decline. We're now at 15.5, so we shaved off another 0.1 of a degree yesterday. That's 2 degrees above average. That is provisional to yesterday to the 23rd of September. So that's going to carry on falling over the next week. The drop in temperature will accelerate, I think, from this weekend into the early part of next week. So we're going to go into the 14s where we finish up within the 14s, maybe see it. We'll still be a little bit above average, but not excessively so. We'll be somewhere in the 14s with the CT by month's end, I think. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles that can reach on the Exeter today. Red line is the first year upper air temperature average for Exeter, home of the UK Met Office, of course. So for the rest of September, we're going to be cooler than average, below average temperatures for the rest of September. Into the first week of October, we see a recovery in the upper air temperatures taking place, going somewhat above average through the first week of October. Precipitation-wise, going to be a little bit showery over the next few days, but it's particularly light at the end of next week, where it could turn quite wet and windy, actually. The temperature will stage a bit of a recovery as we go into the end of next week and like first weekend of October, but at the same time that could bring quite a bit of rain with it. And then the first week of October, second week of October, just looking rather showery, to be honest. Temperature anomalies from the 24th of September to 2nd of October, a little bit below average. Precipitation anomalies from the 24th of September to 2nd of October, varying from area to area, but large number dry on the average side. North West England, North Wales, a little bit wetter though. In the United States, it's quite cool over on the eastern side of America at the moment, but in central western regions, it's very warm to hot. And most parts of the state's also looking pretty dry, but up the east coast it is actually wetter in terms of precipitation over next week. That might be down to Ian though. You'll notice how it gets wetter down here. So that is like the path of Ian, and Ian might go up the eastern coast of America then. As, you know, post-tropical storm, obviously. Right, let's move on that from earthnorthschool.net. Shows that putting in these cooler northeasterlies today, so that's the reason it's feeling cooler and fresher. Let's drag this around and have a look at these developments. So the first one we want to have a look at is, well, we've got Gaston just there, of course, around the Azores. There's Fiona, going post-tropical up towards Canada. If we pull this down a little bit more, we can see Hermine just here on the way up to the Canary Islands. And then pulling this around, there is Ian. There is Tropical Storm Ian, could become a major hurricane as it goes in that direction up towards Florida by the middle of next week. We shall see and keep an eye on all of those developments. Right, okay, so look at chart data then. This is how the UK Met Euro is looking for midnight on Tuesday, putting in a cool or cold northerly wind, maybe bringing showers with it. And we say cool and showery through the middle part of next week as well. Towards the end of next week, low pressure deepens in the Atlantic. And look at this, by the time we get through to Friday, we're turning wet and windy, actually a little bit stormy. Wow, 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 look at that area of low pressure, 970 millibar. It could be 965 in its centre, actually. Very deep area of low pressure. First proper Atlantic storm of the season, giving the first real autumnal gales, perhaps, by this time next week. Icon! So sorry everyone. Icon looks like that with winds in from the north on Tuesday. Very cool and showery for the middle part of next week. And then again, this area of low pressure deepens in the Atlantic at the end of next week. That gives us a blow of wet and windy. Maybe not quite stormy with Icon compared to the UK Met, but nevertheless, it looks very unsettled and pretty cool. Right way up to next weekend, which of course gets us to the first day of October. So October starting on a very autumnous note. GFS midnight run, again, with winds in from the north on Tuesday. Going to be a very cool and showery day. That carries on to the middle of next week. And then low pressure deepening in the Atlantic by the time you get through next weekend. But low pressure's further north, so not as stormy with the GFS midnight run as like the UK Met is showing. Probably not as wet either, but it would bring some rain into the northwest in particular. What it does do, though, is start to pull in some warmer air from the southwest, actually. So temperatures lift up next weekend, but not for long. We're soon back into those cool northerly winds again around or just beyond day 10. And then GFS midnight run very much has high pressure taking over from the first week into the second week of October. So we're settling down, turning mainly dry over that area of high pressure. Of course, there could be some cold nights associated with that, as it is October. And miss some fog and whatnot. Perhaps will become a little bit more of a concern there. But GFS 6 then, the latest, again with those showery northerly winds on Tuesday into Wednesday into Thursday. Friday starts to raise the heights of the southwest a little bit. Again, not as deep as that area of low pressure in the North Atlantic as like UK Met and Icon. So actually next weekend, relatively dry down in the south and quite warm with winds in from the southwest. Meanwhile, further northwards it would be a little bit more unsettled. Day 10 sees high pressure originally in from the southwest, so it means mostly dry, and then the high pressure sits over top of the country really as we go through to the end of the GFS 6Z run. Mainly dry and quite warm in the south, but beginning to turn a little bit more unsettled up in the north. If you enjoyed the video, then please you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Drop a comment. That's what about this is all of our videos. We're on the cusp of 14,444 subscribers. So, if I can, I'll try and screen grab that when we get to it. But we might just, knowing my luck, we'll probably just flip on then to 14,445, and I will never see 14444. But anyway, please give us a sub. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, GEM, cold northerly winds on Tuesday, with lots of showers around as well. Those cool, cold, showery conditions continue into the middle of next week. And then by next weekend, low pressure deepens in the Atlantic, turns the wind back into west, which is a warmer wind direction, but could also bring some wet and windy weather with it, particularly so to the north. Up to day 10, high pressure builds into the southwest, turns things drier and warmer for the south, and even in the north, probably trying to settle down a little bit with that as well. And then ECMWF once more with those northerly winds on Tuesday, cool or cold and showery around the middle part of the week. Then low pressure deepens in the Atlantic and get through to the end of next week, and that gives us our first blow of proper autumnal gales Friday into Saturday. That will be like gale force winds across most parts, and severe gales maybe for southwestern parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, maybe northwest England. And lots of heavy rain too. So that is the first proper Atlantic autumn storm of the season. That gets out of the way, and then we start to try and build some high pressure into the south. Not convincingly so. And there's probably a weather front that's strung out within that, but would bring some outbreaks of probably quite heavy and persistent rain. Of course, where that boundary between the warm red to the south and the cool red to the north would we'll have to wait and see. It's just a long way off. Precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from meteo.com showing the cold front coming southwards from sunny into Monday, bringing outbreaks of rain and melting into those showery conditions through most of next week. Lots of heavy showers coming and going. By the end of next week, in comes that wet, windy, quite stormy weather on Friday into Saturday. Look at all this rain piling in off the Atlantic, especially so to the north and west, so properly wet and windy there. First autumnal storm of the season, and then we go up towards day 10, and we have the weather fronts are strung out across England and Wales, bringing outbreaks of persistent rain through there. Meanwhile, further north it's drier but cooler. Of course, where that band of rain is going to end up, where it will reside in the end, remains to be seen. We might get some warmth into the south and some dry weather into the south, but it's all a very, very long way off. These are the ups on the table within the ECM ensemble today for day 10. It gets us to the 4th of October from the Icelandic Met Office. 15 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure over to west country and also reaching north. Going to be mainly dry about, but could be a little bit on the cool side with winds in from the north, from the northeast. 11, including the operational run, has high pressure to the south, southeast, low pressure out to west. Of course, there is that weather front that's strung out within that. 10 have high pressure right over top of the country. 9 with high pressure to the south, low pressure to the west. Again, probably a weather front strung out somewhere through there. And then 6 with high pressure reaching up from the Azores, being drier and warmer weather. In 2 minutes' time, these are the options that we've got. It will get us to the 9th of October. 29 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure over to the North Country, mainly dry, but a little bit on the cool side with that. Winds would come in from the northeast, and then 22 with high pressure over low pressure, so Scandinavia, high pressure to our west and southwest. That could be rather cool and showery winds in from a northwesterly direction. CMS 2 these are 500 millibar high times break down to week periods. The first week period will take from 24th, 30th of September. The last week of September looks cool and wet. Low pressure to the east, high pressure to the west, and winds coming in from the north and from the northeast. Certainly cool and showery anyway. Week 2 is going to be the 1st to the 7th of October. High pressure just to the southwest, low pressure over Scandinavia, wind doing something a little bit like that. So rather on the cool and showery side with that one. Excuse me, week 3 is going to be the 8th to the 14th of October with high pressure building in, bringing lots of dry and fine weather with it. And then week 4 is the 15th, 21st of October, still with high pressure dominating across the west of Europe, mainly dry. And you would have thought relatively warm with that. And we're done. If you enjoyed the video, would you like to subscribe? Thank you so much, everybody. Give that, drop a comment, let us know what you got. Listen to all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. It's amazing. It's incredible. Thank you so much for doing that. Right, so that's it then. Just telling you what's coming up tomorrow. Going to be a big old day. Going to start our 6 AM upload. We will have before winter 2022-2023 update from Gasworth. It's going to be very interesting watch. We'll be looking at Eurasian snow cover in a little bit of detail this week. We're going to look at some forecasts for the polar vortex, the stratosphere, 10 HPA. We're going to look at some analogues for Wesley QPO winter. So it's going to be a lot of data in the 4th update. I can't wait to get that together a little bit later on this afternoon and this evening, and you'll be able to see it at 10 AM tomorrow. And we'll be live streaming at 8 PM, and we'll discuss the 4th winter update in that live stream. We'll show you the 12Z and do 10 to 14 day with 12Z. And if that wasn't enough, we will show you some long range in the live stream too. So it's going to be great. You check into that if you're around the channel at 8 PM. But before then, the 4th winter update will be released at 10 AM tomorrow morning, bright and early. You enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And for this video, though, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.